Hi, families. Day 2 of Read Aloud. So this one is a little bit of a long story. I'll try to read it a little quickly for you, but I think it's a good one. It's old-fashioned, and it's got a good little lesson in it. So here we go. St. Patrick's Day in the Morning by Eve Bunting. Jamie wakened early and remembered that it was St. Patrick's Day. He climbed carefully over his big brother Kevin and his big brother Sean. The stairs were cold at his bare feet. The kitchen was cold too, the fireplace full of dead ashes like chalk. Nell, the sheepdog, lay in the rocker. Here now, Jamie tried to snap his fingers the way Sean did. Nell uncurled herself from the cushions. Jamie sat in the warm spot where she'd slept. St. Patrick's Day in the morning. The green sashes were laid out on the table. The big one was his dad's. The next biggest was Sean's. The next biggest was Kevin. Their fringes were crusted with gold. There was no sash for Jamie. It's not fair now, Jamie said. I want to walk in the parade too. They say I'm too small, but I couldn't get to the top of Acorn Hill. But what do they know? Jamie slid off the chair. His mother's raincoat hung behind the door. He put it on. He put on his dad's black hat and Sean's sash. He took Kevin's flute from the dresser. Come on now, Jamie said. Outside, the mountains were as green as cat's eyes. Clouds hung in tatters around their tops. Head up, chest out, Jamie said. Follow me. So he really wants to be a part of the parade. So he's going to go prove if he can make it to the top of Acorn Hill. Let's see if he does. They marched down the street. None of the chimneys were smoking yet. Milk bottles stood on front steps waiting to be let in. It's one of my favorite lines in this story. A long time ago, you used to get milk delivered to your door every day, and they came in glass bottles, and you would set out your old bottles on the porch, and then the milkman would come and he would give you your new bottles and take your old bottles to be refilled. But I love that they said that the milk bottles were waiting to be let in. It's kind of fun when you think about it. Kit Kelly's donkey put her head over her gate. Oh, happy St. Pat's to you, donkey dear, Jamie said. He lifted his hat the way his dad did to the ladies. Kit Kelly's donkey curled her lip. Silly donkey, Jamie said. What do you know? The sky was the color of his mother's pearl brooch, which is a pin that you wear, the one she wore on Sundays. Jamie marched down the middle of Main Street past the shuttered shops, which means all the windows were closed. Barney the baker was a white blur behind his window. There was a whiff of bread baking. Nell turned her head toward the smell and drooled. Come on, Nell, Jamie said. Hubble, the hen man, trundled his wheelbarrow along the footpath. His eggs were piled in it, all brown and white. Good morning to you, Jamie said. I see your hens are laying well. It's the sweet corn and the sweet talk I feed them, Hubble said. Pick yourself an egg, Jamie. Jamie took a brown one off the top. It was still warm from the hen. Happy St. Pat's, Jamie said as he lifted his hat. He put the egg safe in his pocket. Now, what I like this illustrator did is they didn't use all the colors of the rainbow. They really just used St. Patrick's Day colors, greens and yellows. So the whole book has a theme to it. Jamie and Nell walked under the arches that spanned the street. Jamie wet the end of the flute with spit, just like Kevin did. Then he blew on it. And oh, the sounds it made. He puffed his cheeks, his fingers danced across the wind holes. Nell howled and put her tail down. Silly Nell, what does she know? What do you guys know? Those of you that have pets when dogs put their tails down like that, it often means that they're scared or nervous or uncomfortable. She must not have liked Jamie's music. Mad old Mrs. Milligan threw her window and leaned out. Save us all, she yelled. It's the terrible noise you're making, Jamie Von Donovan. She banged her window shut. That mad old Mrs. Mulligan. And what did she know? Mrs. Mulligan's big red rooster cock-a-doodle-dooed from the roof. His wattle rattled, and Nell howled again. It was as good as a chorus to go with the music. Jamie was sorry there was no one to hear but mad old Mrs. Mulligan. Do you guys know what a wattle is? That's that red hangy down part on a turkey or a rooster or a hen. Well, roosters. I don't think hens have that. It was hard climbing up Acorn Hill, with all Jamie's breath going into the music. He'd better save his strength for the marching. He put the flute over his shoulder and stepped out. Mrs. Sims of the halfway up sweet shop leaned on her half door. "You're the early ones," she said. "Come on in, Jamie. You likely could use some refreshments." So a sweet shop. What do you think they sell there? A sweet shop. Something sweet. Candy? Ice cream? I don't know. Let's see. Jamie's head came to the level of Mrs. Sims' counter. Bottles of ginger ale stood on it. When he looked through them, everything was orange. Mrs. Sims gave him a bottle all for himself. She gave him a bun with a cherry on top, too. Nell let her tongue hang out and begged nicely. Mrs. Sims threw her 2 jelly beans. Jamie ate his bun. He put the ginger ale bottle in his other pocket, the one that wasn't carrying the egg. I remember these from when I was younger, too. We had a sweet shop down at my dad's cottage in Arundequoit, and it was my favorite place to go. Everything was like a penny a piece or a nickel a piece, and it was so fun to fill your pockets with candy. "Here's a wee flag for you, too," Mrs. Sims said. "You can wave it later on at the parade." Jamie sniffed. Mrs. Sims was nice, but what did she know? Does he want to be standing on the sidelines waving a flag? No, he wants to be in the parade. He took the flag anyway. "Well, we'll have to be getting on, Mrs. Sims," he said. "We've a brave bit still to go." "Aye," Mrs. Sims said. "You'll be saving a good place for yourselves for the watching." Jamie nodded. "Come on now." The flute was getting awfully heavy on Jamie's shoulder. He held out the flag in front of him. It was a very small flag, but it kind of started to feel heavy, too. "Don't be giving up now, Nell," Jamie puffed. "We're nearly there." They turned the sweep of Acorn Hill, and they were there. Jamie stopped. "Look now." I love that little hat over his face. In front of them was a field where the bands would be on stage for the Irish dancing. There was a green ribbon around the platform to keep people off. Jamie crept under it. He sat right in the middle of the stage, and Nell lay beside him. The sun was coming up. So there's the grass where everyone's going to dance. And then here's the stage, the platform where the band will play, and they're sneaking under to have a sneak peek before the parade starts. Kind of exciting adventure that he went on this morning. Jamie took the cap off of his ginger ale and drank. He poured some in his hand for Nell, and all of them were saying, "I was too small," he said. "What do they know?" The sun jumped up like a firecracker from behind the mountain. "A happy St. Pat's to you, son," Jamie shouted. The words made a great shimmer of sound in the emptiness. Really beautiful. Jamie pushed Nell's head from his knees and stood up. The last drop of ginger ale was gone from the bottle. He stuck the green and yellow flag in it. Then he put the bottle right in the middle of the stage. I wonder why he did that. "See," he told Nell, "that means that we were here first. We did it, no matter what they said. Now we can go home." It was easy going down Acorn Hill. There was nothing to it at all. The town was waking up. I love that. It's not like where they're saying that something that isn't alive is really alive. The town is waking up. It's a fun way to think about it. Some of the chimneys were smoking. The milk bottles had been let in, but Jamie's own house was still asleep. What do you think he means by that Jamie's house was still asleep? Do you think the house itself was snoring? What do you think? I think it might mean that everyone's still asleep inside and the bottles haven't been let in. He opened the back door. The clock tick-tocked. The turf ashes lay in their white drifts. Jamie took off his mother's coat. He set Hubble's egg on the table. He climbed in the rocker, and Nell jumped beside him. He laid the flute across his knees and closed his eyes. Oh, the music he'd made. They'd not hear the likes of it all day. And wait until they saw the flag, the mystery of it, the wondering there'd be. Because would anybody know where the flag came from? Nope, probably not, right? But he would know. It's like his own little secret. There were feet coming down the stairs, but his eyes were too heavy to lift and look. Ah, our Jamie, Kevin's voice was soft, sound asleep, and with the sash and the flute and our dad's black hat. Are you sad now, Jamie, and you not being big enough to walk in the parade? So his brother just said that to him. Are you feeling sad that you're not big enough to walk in the parade, even though he knew he was sleeping? Jamie kept his eyes closed and smiled. Silly Kevin. What did he know? So everyone's saying he was too small to walk in the parade. He proved everyone a little bit wrong, right? But what I like about this story is that he didn't feel the need to brag about it or tell anybody else. He just felt that pride in himself and knew that he could do it. And when he's old enough someday, he'll get to actually participate in the parade. I love it. I love it when little kids do big things. Have a great day, guys.